Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, "Real estate cannot be lost or stolen, nor can it be carried away. Purchased with common sense, paid for in full, and managed with reasonable care, it's about the safest investment in the world." And real estate is what we do. This is the Realtors Radio Network. There's no sense in overcomplicating real estate. And if you're a first-time home buyer, an investor, or a real estate agent, you're about to get useful, practical, and smart advice on every facet of real estate. Welcome to the Realtors Radio Network. Now your hosts, Santos Garcia, Marcos Suarez, and Dawn McCullough.
Welcome to Realtors Radio Network. Today we have a great and special guest. Before we get to her, let's announce the usual suspects. We have Santos.
I'm guilty.
Santos Garcia. We have Dawn McCullough and myself, Marcos Suarez. But we want to have a chat today with Carolyn Then.
Hello.
Because we've been wanting to have a conversation. A lot of our agents ask if they can be on the show, but we like to do the asking. Mm-hmm. So we've been trying to get our schedules lined up to have a chat with you and see what you've been up to, and if you could tell us how'd you get started, or what did you do before real estate? How did you get started?
So before real estate, I still do it now. I work for the judiciary. So I've been there. It'll be 24 years in December.
Wow. Congratulations. That's a long time.
Thank you. So I work in family court. I don't think people work that long anymore at jobs. But
right.
That's true. Very true.
But I'm there. And I have a few more years to go before I can retire. And I mean, the reason why I started doing real estate is as like a plan for when I retire.
Oh, look at that. So you were already
yes, I'm thinking ahead.
Planning mode. Yes, thinking ahead. That's great.
Just thinking for like her hobbies.
Yeah.
Things to do for fun.
Right. Let me pick up another career.
Right. That's also in real estate.
Yeah. We're happy that you chose real estate. And what made you pick real estate of all things that you could have done after?
So the reason I never actually even thought of real estate, like never considered it, never thought it was something I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. But during COVID, so many things happened during COVID, right?
Yeah, right.
I decided to sell my house. And I wasn't even planning to sell it like at that moment. Uh-huh. But, I reached out to someone that my sister recommended to me. And that person actually was a loan officer, not a realtor. And they referred me to you guys, actually.
Nice.
So.
What a good recommendation.
Yes. So as you guys know the story. He referred me to you, Marcos. And then you brought Dawn in. And
yes.
And you guys helped me sell my house and buy a house. And I thought that you guys were so amazing. I even thought I was your only client. Because
wow.
Yeah.
That's how, I felt. So I was like, wow, if they teach me, the business, like I would love, I'll do it. Because I like to learn from the best.
Nice.
So that's how I wound up here.
That's awesome. So you literally, it's funny that you say that, and to have someone else, because that's always been, Dawn and I have worked together for a long time. And that was always our customer experience, or our goal of our customer experience was to make them feel like they were our only client. Mm-hmm. And to get back with them so often that they feel like, wow, they're constantly communicating with us, and it's great to hear you say that, because that's actually our goal. I know it's Dawn as a still working agent still does it, still tries to work that way so that they feel kind of hugged, like you're holding in their hand the whole time.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That's how I felt. I even asked, I think I asked you, Dawn, I don't know if you remember this, but we were like, I think in Union County somewhere. And I asked you that question. I asked, like, do you have, like, are you working with other people? And of course, yes.
She said yes.
But it didn't feel like that to me. Uh-huh. So it was really good.
Well, that's great. That means that I did my job well.
Yeah.
That's an amazing feedback. That's
that's
a realtor. That's like the best.
Yeah. So I want to learn from the best.
So you chose to work at United because of the experience you had.
Yes.
That's excellent.
The experience, and Dawn was very supportive the whole time when I finally made that decision, Mm-hmm. So it's been amazing.
It's funny. I get feedback about Dawn all the time as far as, oh, she's very supportive. She answers our questions. She's not just from clients, because people call in to the company to say good things or even bad things about agents. But whenever they call and about Dawn, it's always, she's helped us through the whole thing. Is there any way that we can repay her? I was like, no, that's her job, is to help you. That's like, he's, oh, but you don't understand. She answered everything. And I'm like, okay, good. That's always, so to hear you say it as a client who became an agent, right? That's very validating. And hopefully you're continuing to pass on that tradition of helping your clients in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that relationship with people, right? And like even educating people is so important, because a lot of times you don't know anything, right? Like you don't know what's going on. You have all these questions. Sometimes you might not find out something till later, which is kind of like, I wasn't ready for this.
Right.
So I like to have all the information that I can have. Like I like to be very knowledgeable so that I can then, either help a coworker, help another agent, or like the person I'm working with, right? Like I like knowledge and all my jobs, right? My 2 jobs is really important to me.
Yeah, and it's funny because in inviting you in to sit with us and have a conversation, you ask around and it's like, oh yeah, Carolyn's a great pick. Great, because she's always, answering. She's always fun to be around. She's always, and so it was good to know that, the people who want to learn about you, and that they actually were happy to hear that we invited you to sit.
Cool.
So it's good. We do ask around, by the way, just to make sure that we're making good choices. But people were happy, so they're gonna be happy to hear all of this. So how long have you been in real estate as of today?
3 years, right?
3 years.
Like 3 years.
It flies, right?
Yeah, so since 2021.
Yeah, it flies.
So 3 years, yeah, it feels like 100 years.
Listen, it's a roller coaster.
It feels like I should be retired from my other job already, but I'm not.
It's a roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, and sometimes you're like, wait a minute, did we just hit this dip? Is it slowing down? No, it's taking off again.
Yeah.
Right? It's always fun. And in those 3 years, do you have any crazy story? Have you amounted? Maybe not. Maybe you don't have any. But do you have any crazy stories that have happened in real estate?
I do have a crazy story. Actually, there was a listing that I had, and this guy went to see it. The agent wasn't there yet. I guess the person showed up before the agent did. And instead of waiting for the agent to show up, he decided, I don't know how he even noticed this. He must have really been looking closely at the house, but he noticed that there was a window that was unlocked or open or whatever. And he opened the window and put his little daughter inside the house.
What?
So that she can then, open the door so that he can get in the house.
Wow.
And the owner, right, he had cameras like everybody does these days. And, he called and he's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Somebody's
so the breaking part didn't happen, but the entering illegally
Yes.
happened. So breaking and entering minus the breaking, but it was still illegal to do. They were trespassing, basically.
Yes. I don't
What?
even understand why he thought that was okay.
What?
And I had to call, the agent and say what, your client is just committed a crime, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Uses the daughter as an accessory.
Wow.
To get in there. I don't, it's just people do weird things.
Yeah, listen, all you realtors out there, don't do that.
Plot twist.
Don't let your client
The
go.
little guy was a realtor, and the show is coming out next week.
Well, I don't know what's more concerning, that
Plot twist.
that someone did that, or what are you teaching your children?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
She probably thinks
Yeah.
oh, this is...
Get in there.
It's
open the
okay
door.
to go into a house that's not yours. That's what you're teaching
Yeah.
them.
Whose shoulders can I hop on?
But
get
here's
into the window?
here's the thing, right? What if there had been a dog in there?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that now they just put their child in harm's way.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's very dangerous.
I mean, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Anybody could have been, a person could have been in there.
Yeah.
And
A squatter, maybe, or
Yeah.
who
Squatter.
knows?
you don't know.
But the dog wouldn't have known
No.
not to harm that child.
Yeah.
It's like the squatter, okay, maybe they'll leave, maybe they'll ask you to
Maybe.
leave. Who knows? But
Anything
but
could
they
have
have
happened.
reason, right? Oh, it's a little kid. I'm
You
not
would
going to
hope.
harm. You would think, but man, if there's a dog in there that's trained to go after anything that
Yeah.
it doesn't know,
This is something that needs to be added to the buyer's presentation. Something like you tell your clients, hey, if you have a little kid,
Yeah.
Don't look through the window.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Please, common sense is not common, as they say.
Yeah.
But all right, that is a crazy story. Any other crazy stories, or
Well,
we
I
can cap it at
remember
that.
that story. I remember the seller. So he started getting, the motion alerts on his phone, and he was hearing like echoing like the kid in the house.
Oh boy.
And so I remember when you called the agent, she's like, no, that didn't happen. It's like, no, it's
Yeah.
It's
There are
on
cameras
camera.
everywhere.
Video.
We got footage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on social media now and TikTok.
But imagine as a seller, you're thinking, wait a second, I think just in any industry, we should never, make each other look bad or
Yep.
and just a simple conversation. I know it seems kind of ridiculous to tell somebody like, hey, don't enter the house without me.
Right.
Right. But, don't see if the doors are unlocked or the windows are unlocked. I think she was 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy was going to happen within 5 minutes that you couldn't wait.
Wow. How about well, there's always and interrupt me if you guys have questions that are, but not to beat a dead horse, but did they have an excuse for being late at least so that they're? I mean,
I don't think so.
No,
Like,
they-
it seemed
they-
like she
they
was, I think it was
just-
a woman, if I remember correctly. She was on her way, and I mean, the guy was just not patient, I guess.
wow.
Maybe he
Yeah.
had somewhere to be. I don't know.
yeah, who knows?
But he just didn't wait,
Yeah.
you know?
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a lot of we're gonna have a lot of new agents and a lot of new agents watching the show. So I'd like to ask. I would like you to tell us a lot about your first couple of transactions. I know you are teaming up with Don, so that was definitely not a challenge for you. But maybe if you have like some key takeaways, advice for the new agents, how can they go about their first couple of transactions? Maybe you can tell us about yours.
I mean, definitely get a mentor. I know a lot of people maybe, don't want to do it because there's a cost involved, right? But it's the best thing that somebody can do. I mean, you have no experience. You don't know how to do a lot of things, and you need to have an expert tell you, like, these are the steps. This is how you do this, right? So, like, I was lucky enough, like you said, to have Dawn and even Marcos, jumped in whenever, Dawn couldn't, be with me. But, I had my first two transactions were actually 2 condos, right, that I sold. And I represented the buyers. And, I was able to go out on my first showings, like, with Dawn. Dawn came out with me, and it's like a great way to just, observe, right? Because let somebody else like kind of like talk and like you hear, the things that you should be saying and like maybe the stuff that you don't say, right? Buyers have a lot of questions, right?
Yes.
And if you're brand new in the business, you're not gonna know how to guide them. Like what you learn to take that test is literally not anything that you're gonna be using to sell a house to somebody.
Right.
So you need that. I think that's like the best part. One of the best things that I did was having a mentor and then just gaining experience that way, right? Like
Right. Because more is caught than taught. You learn a lot more by seeing other people's interaction and then going out there and doing it than you do actually in a classroom somewhere just doing that.
Yeah.
Right? Theory is one thing, but practical knowledge, right? Actually doing it is another. So I'm glad that you did, work in that way in tandem with Dawn to learn that process, because that really is the best way. Having someone who's better than you at something. I do it all the time with inviting people to play golf with me that are way better than me because I see their technique. I see, they're hitting it that way. I'm doing it this way. Well, if I do it that way, it'll go that direct. Like, you learn by doing that.
yeah.
But I'm glad that you recognize that mentorship is helpful.
Of course. Yeah, like I knew nothing, right? Like at that stage. So you need that. You need somebody that's going to guide you and that you can ask questions to, because even when it's time to like, showing places is probably one of the easier things, right? Like you're just opening a door and like letting people go in, and I mean the rooms are the rooms,
Right.
right?
Sure.
Like, and as you're, as you do it, you do gain more experience about like, certain things in the home that you can identify for your client. But like, what about when you have to put an offer in? Like
Exactly.
that's like
Sure.
a contract that has to be filled in, and you don't know how to fill that out. You don't know what forms you need. You don't know any of that. So it's really important, I think, to have someone that's gonna train you and show you the ropes.
And I have to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, your first 2 transactions. Now remember, right? She's new in the business, excited for the transactions, but they were 2 buyers that were affected by flooding,
Yes.
right? And that's what got them to the point of they want to buy. So it's a somewhat exciting time, but at the same time, it's a little bit tragic, or maybe they had some loss.
Yeah.
They're in a position where they have to be out of where they've been. I think it was Hurricane Ida at
Yeah,
the
it
time,
was. I know.
and so you're excited, right? Because you're like, yeah, I have a new client. I can't wait to help them.
Yeah.
They're maybe not as excited as a different buyer, and you have to understand that maybe the psychology of it, and understand how can I help these people that have just suffered some tragedy.
Yeah,
Right.
and they were not, like, these people were not planning on buying. What pushed them to buy was that they did lose everything.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
there were people living on, like, first floor apartments where the Passaic River overflowed, and, like,
Right.
they lost everything in the basement and everything, and mostly everything in the apartment, even a car, right, that was affected. And, it was just a decision that was made, based on, like, rents and things like that were whatever was happening at the time.
It was a real necessity. It was
So it was
a
either
need.
like we go find another apartment or like buy something. Yeah, and I was, able to help them out.
And
with
it's funny. It's one of those things that also having a mentor helps you. Psychologically, it helps you. Okay, you have a client, but remember, it might be exciting for you, like
Yeah.
Dawn said, but it's a little bit of a ordeal for them to it's a little bit of a burden that they have to kind of shoulder for a little while. And then you have to guide them through that. Because I've seen agents even at other companies. I talk to other agents, and I'm seeing them. Rah, 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 I'm so happy. I got this my first client. And then meanwhile, it's because someone passed away or because someone, like, listen, you got to tone down a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit. You got to calm down, because that's not a happy situation. You have to bring you have to consider your audience, right?
Yeah.
In any, whether you're talking to a crowd or handling your client, or you have to consider what the situation is and deal with it appropriately.
Yeah.
So it's good that you had that coaching there, that mentorship where you could say, okay, let me lean on this experience a little bit to get through all
Yeah.
that.
And like perfect example of like a new agent, right? Needing someone, like that first buyer, the property that they purchased, there's an in-ground oil tank at that property. Like all their condos, and they all have oil tanks in the ground. Like I know nothing about that at that point, right?
Right.
I mean, I learned so much
Sure.
with that one experience, but we had to get soil tested. We had to get the tank like it was just a lot of stuff happening that, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to recommend, like who can my clients use to do that kind of testing and things like that. So, another example, right, as to why you need
yeah.
experience to be with you.
It does matter.
Yeah.
Experience does matter.
That's another thing, because as a real estate agent, you have to have like a whole team. Like your buyers and your sellers are gonna come to you with questions and necessities, and they're gonna be, who can I get for this? And you better be ready with a whole list of referrals and stuff.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
having that mentor there, right? That person is gonna be able to provide you with those tools and those connections. That's really
I
good.
am very thankful that Dawn is only a text message away.
Oh, thank you.
What would you say is something that you wish you knew before you got into real estate, about real estate, obviously?
Ooh.
How much rent to charge?
Okay.
Like that is my biggest. I feel like I lost tons of money, right? Like I had a 2-family home in the past, and just because I wasn't treating that property as a business, right? I was just like so worried about, the type of tenant that you get, that I was willing to just say, how much are you paying right now? You know, what I
Right.
mean? You pay $1,200 there, but I know you, like, just come live in my house and you can
Yeah.
pay me $1,200. And that was always like my mentality, because I did rent to people that I didn't know, and it was like, disaster. So
Right.
then, like, you have to get rid of them. But yeah, so like I feel like all those years I was as the owner of the home paying more than the tenants were, right? Just because I was concerned about the people that were living there. But if I would have had an agent, like, I would have been able to have like a background check done.
Yeah, a little bit more
like
of an
all
education.
these background checks. Like, I would have been told, like, no, this is how much the market is. This is how much, these your apartment should be rented for. And it was just not. I didn't have that, right? And then by the time I got it, it was, I was selling the place.
Right.
So it was like a little too late for that. But yeah, like, I think, even if you just are trying to rent a home, like rent an apartment in your home, like, get a realtor. It's
Right.
like so much easier, I think. It takes it out of your hands, and they're going to do all the background checks, right? There's nothing to worry about. They're going to literally check, like, does this person have enough money to actually pay this rent?
Right.
How have they done previously, in other places that they've rented? Like, is their credit good? Just all these indicators as to if this person is going to be a good tenant or not.
Right.
And, instead I just was like, oh, you have a friend that needs an apartment,
Right.
like, perfect. I'll
You're
rent
winging
my
it.
place out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And never charging enough rent,
Right.
so.
Well, now you
But,
know better.
Lessons
you
learned.
know.
Lesson learned.
Right.
There you go for our new investors, new buyers
Right.
looking into multifamilies.
Yes. You just gave a mini clinic on home ownership.
Yeah.
That's great. See how much you've learned in just 3 years?
Oh, yes. I've learned a lot.
It's always great to hear, people's experience as to, okay, this is how I got started. This is what I've learned. This is, how I've improved so far. And you happen to make some money along the way.
Yes.
So
That's always nice.
yeah, it's good. I like people's trajectory. When I see them taking off like that, because you started off, very quickly learning. You were I always, anytime I saw you in any of our classes, you're always taking great notes. I mean, they're textbook. People can go back, like anybody could go back and look at your notes and get exactly the feel for what that class was about, what each topic was about. I've always known from the first probably week that I saw you taking notes, I knew that you were going to be great at real estate because you were paying attention.
I tried.
You were paying attention.
And she's coachable.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's key, right? You have to be coachable because
Yes.
if you come in here thinking you know everything,
Yeah,
there are going to be some setbacks. You're going to
for
fall
sure.
on your backside pretty hard if you think you know everything already.
Yeah. And I've worked with people that way.
You've had, yeah, it's in both your previous job and now.
Of
probably.
course, everywhere you
Right.
always run into people that think they know.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
I don't know why people don't. It's okay to say that you're not, like,
that you don't know something.
you don't know something, right?
Absolutely.
Like, because I've actually worked with, like, an agent that they asked me to do an open house with someone, and I thought it was like the way it was told to me was like if this person was like a newer person, like maybe not that much experience with an open house, and when I spoke to the person, I said, okay, like, is this, like, I just the question that I asked was in reference to that, like, kind of like experience. And they were like, oh, no, I've had my license for X amount of years. And, like, I was like, oh, okay.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, okay. But when we were at the open house, right, I clearly no experience.
Right.
So, yeah, like, it's okay. Like, you don't have to, like, seem like you know everything. I
Right.
don't know why it's hard for people
It's funny.
sometimes.
This is one of those industries where the number of years that you've been in the game, in this industry, that doesn't mean anything. It's how much you've learned, right? That's one of the reasons why the way we train our agents and the tools that we use, the training that we use, a very specific method so that in 100 days or in just about that time, we train our agents to have about 3 years worth of experience in the first 100 days that they're in these classes that we put them through, just so that we can shrink the learning curve down. And when you come across somebody with 5 or 10 years of experience and you feel like you can stand toe to toe with them, you feel good about your where you're going, your trajectory in your business, and we noticed that with you, right? We'd put you, here's a lead, or here's a somebody you're going to work with, or here's an open house, and you're like, yep, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, very confidently you went forward. Versus we see agents in other companies 5 years, and you ask them a question, and we're like, oh, I didn't know that you had to do that, or is that how it's done, or is that, it's amazing to me to see that. Sometimes we run into 20 people, 25 years in the business, and they know nothing. It was like, you've been in real estate how long, and you didn't know any of this?
Wow.
I mean, come on.
That's all my note taking.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
very important. It's very important to remind a student, right? And that applies to pretty much everything. I have a little story. I remember when I started my whole health journey to get better. Started running. One of my friends, he's a marathon runner, and when I started running, he was like, "Oh, you're not running right," and let me teach you this breathing techniques and all that. I was like, come on, man, you're gonna teach me how to run? Get out of here.
Yeah.
I know how to run.
Right.
So one day I was just running, and that got stuck in my head, like, why he's coming to me telling me I'm not running the proper way, and I need some breathing techniques. And you know what? After a couple of weeks, I was like, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about this?
Yeah.
And after that, I doubled the miles that I was doing. It was more comfortable. So I saw improvement. So there's power in staying and remain a student throughout life.
Yeah. You have to remain a student because, life never stops teaching. So
Yes,
you should
yes.
always continue learning.
The moment you get in that mindset, I know, there's nothing more I can learn, that's it. You stop growing.
That's it. You actually start going backwards in life because the whole planet continues forward without you if you stop learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, I like to ask our guests, what is, quick fire questions, whatever comes into your head.
Okay.
But Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts?
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah. Favorite lunch food?
I'm gonna say a sandwich.
Okay. Do you prefer in the car or in a restaurant?
Restaurant.
Yeah. How about favorite town in New Jersey?
Totowa.
Not biased in any way.
No, not at all. Could it be because you live there?
They have some good empanadas there.
How about favorite vacation spot anywhere, not just Jersey?
I love a cruise, just because you get to go to different ports,
Spots,
like see
yeah.
different things. So
Okay.
say that.
And I'll go back to favorite, let's say real estate app. What's your favorite? Could be anything.
You're a Canva girl, no?
Well, yeah, but I don't use the app that much, which is funny.
Really?
Yeah.
So you
This is a
use it
hard
on the
one.
computer?
I'm like, I need my phone.
Instagram, but a lot of people say Instagram or Canva, but
Yeah, I use Canva a lot, actually. But
you make flyers or memes or anything?
I make flyers.
Memes.
Usually flyers.
Flyers, QR codes.
Yeah. Let's go with Canva then, I guess. I use
Okay.
that most often.
All right. How about any the crazy stories? There's always something you can piggyback off of crazy stories, so I won't dive back into that. You guys have any questions that you feel like?
No, I mean, I just, to go back a little bit on, Carolyn was so coachable, like literally a sponge, that I almost like consider her my mini-me, right? Like if I cannot be at an open house for people to shadow, she'll be my go-to, right? So much so that I have people actually like demanding, like, hey, is Carolyn available this week? How about next week? Trying to fill up her schedule. And I really appreciate it so much because, right, there's only so many Sundays or Saturdays or whatever in a month, and I can only be in so many places. But I appreciate her willingness to want to learn and grow as a realtor, and that's not very present in the majority of new agents. And it's not to be negative, but I think a lot of people enter this industry and this business because it looks glamorous online, right? Or on HGTV or whatever, wherever these shows are. It looks fun and easy, and everybody has a fabulous car, and everybody has all this stuff. And it looks, it looks great. But it's actually hard work, right? You're running a business. It's hard work. You're always learning and growing, or you should be if you want your business to be successful. And you're one of the very, very few people that's actually like taken it so seriously and actually learned and grown. And in just a few short years, you have people literally asking if they could shadow you, or, you know, she helps me co-mentor also. And you don't really see that ever. I mean, I think you would agree.
Absolutely.
Right? You know,
Thank you.
And it's true. I do see agents asking me, "Oh, I heard Carolyn. Do you mind if I ask her to?" And I'm like, "Be my guest. I mean, she's going to be happy to help you." So it's that's you know, evident in everything you do. So it's
just this past weekend, you know, she was requested, and I don't know who gave her a day pass to take off, but and do something personal. That's just not allowed in this business. But they already have her booked for the next weekend coming. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's something to be proud of, honestly, because you don't see that a lot. And a lot of it is because, you know, unfortunately in this business, people kind of just wing it. You know, they don't take it as seriously, or they don't get themselves prepared. And I always try to remind everyone, think of it as your job interview, right? Think about how you get ready for a job interview, or maybe a first date, whatever you want to look at it as. You know, you're always showing your best side, right? Well, the same thing is, you know, in real estate, we're constantly actually on a job interview, you know, or even if you think about open houses, you should be thinking about, you know, what if somebody's coming that may need my help, right? Let me show them what I can actually do for them.
Right.
How will I handle their largest investment, or one of their largest investments? And so when you wing it, it's evident or apparent to potential customers, and they may not want to work with you because of it.
And I would definitely say to like new agents, because I feel like sometimes people feel that what's the point of doing an open house, right? Like, because, I mean, it's somebody else's listing a lot of times. But I sold 2 open houses.
Right.
So, you know,
Yeah.
there is an opportunity not only to get buyers, but to sell that property that you're in that day. So
She did have a mini bidding war, by the way, with herself.
yeah.
Okay.
From her own open house. An
Yeah.
open house, by the way, that I know exactly the house. An open house, by the way, that other people did not want to do. They declined to do the
Oh,
open
wow.
house. And then when they found out she sold it, they were really upset.
Kicking themselves.
Yeah. But I would say, you know, open houses, right? Everybody has mixed feelings on different things in this business and in other businesses. But the more you surround yourself with a business, right, having conversations with people, getting more confident, maybe even handling whether it's objections or just different questions that people ask, you cannot get that experience by being a hermit, right? By being a secret agent. You have to expose yourself and put yourself out there and be surrounded by the business to learn and grow. And if you don't do that, your business will suffer.
True.
Sure.
I have a quick question. What's been your longest transaction so far? Like, how many months did it take?
A current one?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so do tell. Not too many details, but how long? Let's say.
It's 6+ months already.
Yeah,
so
like
I know
it
8
started
months.
in February. It
Wow.
was listed in February of this year, and we still have not closed on
Is
this
it a-
transaction.
Is it a short sale?
No, it is not. It's
Just
just
a
a
nightmare?
regular
It's
sale.
well, no. So we'll throw just one thing in the mix. It is a co-op.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
different type of transaction, and then just the whole process
The
is a little
process
bit
is a little
different.
different. Yeah.
So nothing to
Approvals.
do with buyer or seller delay. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
But you know, different rules and different processes, and we just hurry up and wait.
So another learning experience,
Yes.
which is always interesting because
Yeah.
you learn something on every transaction, right? I mean, was that true
For
in your
sure.
case?
Yeah.
It's,
Like this one especially, like you hear people talk about like co-ops and all the stuff around selling or buying a co-op, but I really experienced it this time.
yeah.
You know, so it's different than
Sure.
like other sales.
I haven't dealt with one of those. Do we have a lot of co-ops here in New Jersey?
We do. It's surprising because you don't hear about them as often, but there are even within 2 minutes of here. There are co-ops
Okay.
of this particular location in Clifton. There, the co-ops in Passaic. There are co-ops in Rutherford. There are East Rutherford. There are co-ops in North Bergen, Edgewater. Like, there's so many around that you don't think about them as often, but there are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think just to add on to that, in those type of transactions, you have way more cooks in the kitchen. And so the more people in a transaction, the more complicated it can be. You're adding way more layers. You're dependent upon everyone aligning, and that can be very difficult.
Wait, are you saying that people are complicated?
Well, I should disclose that.
That's the status on
Complicated.
people.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Complicated.
For sure.
Yep.
So, well, we always like to give everyone an opportunity to tell us, where people can reach you, so your phone number or Instagram. Do you have an Instagram account?
I do. That is a good question. No, I know my
Your handle?
yeah.
It's okay. So what's your phone number?
201-218-0431.
Excellent.
And I think my Instagram is cthen28. It should be that, guys.
Okay. Can they find you on Facebook or anything else? TikTok?
I am on Facebook as well.
Okay.
Not TikTok.
Not TikTok? You
Okay.
don't do the funny dances?
Sorry. No.
You don't teach people how to dance on TikTok?
I do not.
No?
Maybe you should work on that. How to dance at an open house.
Oh, my goodness.
We're only for closings. How about that?
All right. Well, thank you for stopping by. We really appreciate your time and your words. They will help someone. I
hope
believe it.
so.
Yeah. Well, thank you for stopping by. This is.
Thanks for your compliments.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure for sure.
This is Realtors Radio Network signing off.
Keep an ear out for the next episode of the Realtors Radio Network, where Santos Garcia, Marcos Suarez, and Dawn McCullough share their wealth of real estate knowledge. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, review, and share. Find us on social media at Realtors Radio Network. See you next time on the Realtors Radio Network.